If it's driven by ego or ulterior motive, it's not devotion. It's just refined selfishness. Haribol, dear friends. Welcome back to For Soul's Sake. Today, I want to talk about something that sounds simple, but it's actually one of the greatest spiritual challenges of our time. Cooperation.
For soul's sake, for soul's sake.
Not just working together, but uniting around a higher principle without ulterior motives. Because in this age of Kali Yuga, cooperation doesn't come naturally. This is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. This is an age where insignificant things feel enormous, and enormous things feel optional. Strange, right? And if we're honest, we feel this everywhere. We feel it in our families, in our communities, in spiritual spaces. We feel it in the world. That we fight over things that a few years from now won't matter at all. But why? Because when the heart isn't experiencing higher fulfillment, the mind magnifies the trivial. There's a simple image that I love. That if the only thing that you ever see outside of your window is a small hill, that hill feels gigantic. But once you've seen the Himalayas, the same hill becomes insignificant. Krishna is great. Devotion is great. The satisfaction that comes from bhakti is great. And when we genuinely taste even a little of that higher reality, the things that once obsessed us suddenly lose their power. Otherwise, Maya, that which is not, takes over. Things that have nothing to do with our true self begin to possess us. They rule our emotions. They dominate our conversations. They become the reason that we quarrel, that we envy, that we compete with one another unhealthily. And the scriptures tell us something very honest, that we can't overcome lower attachments just by suppressing them. We overcome them only by experiencing something higher. There's a powerful story in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 4th canto, about a person called Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj was a great king, empowered by God, and deeply humble. So humble, in fact, that when sages began to glorify him, before he had even done anything, he would say, "Please don't glorify me. Let me act first and then judge." That alone tells us something about real leadership. Because the Bhagavad Gita explains that people influenced by false ego think that I am the doer. But a devotee understands that I am an instrument. And so Prithu Maharaj knew that whatever good happens is ultimately Krishna acting through us. So back to the story. Now, Prithu Maharaj wanted to perform a series of sacred sacrifices for the welfare of his citizens. But there was a complication. At that same time, Indra, god of the heavens, held a prestigious record that he alone had completed 100 Ashvamedha yagnas, or sacrifices. So Prithu Maharaj was approaching that number. And when Indra became aware, he became afraid. Because the more we have, the more we fear losing. If we are to lock a small metal box that in reality would open as soon as you dropped it, even if the lock looked serious, no one really worries about it because there isn't much to lose. But when we have a big box, the more we accumulate prestige, power, possessions, identity, the stronger our fear gets. So material life is built on identification. I am the body. I am everything related to it. It's mine, my position. I have a reputation. I've got achievements and I've got records. And so Indra assumed something very human, that if Prithu Maharaj is doing all these sacrifices and coming close to my magic number of 100 sacrifices, he must want what I have. But that was projection, because Prithu Maharaj wasn't acting for himself, he was acting for God and for the betterment of his people. Indra's fear turned into sabotage. He disrupted the sacrifices, stole stuff, he disguised himself as a holy man, and in trying to protect his prestige, he created irreligion. All for a number, all for a record. When Prithu Maharaj was about to confront and punish Indra, Lord Brahma intervenes. He said, in essence, yes, Indra is wrong, yes, his ego is involved, but he is still a devotee. He is still serving the Lord in his own way. and so are you. And so instead of creating antagonism, choose peace. Let him keep the record. And Prithu Maharaj did something extraordinary. He let it go. He gave up personal achievement for a higher principle. And when Lord Vishnu appeared, he was far more pleased with Prithu's humility than with any number of sacrifices. Because Krishna is not impressed by numbers. Krishna is moved by character. Srila Prabhupada once said that you can show your love for me by how you cooperate in Krishna consciousness. That's a challenging sentence because cooperation doesn't mean I get my way, but spiritually. Real love is not based on how I want to love. Real love is about what will actually please the Supreme. And you don't love Krishna by pushing others down to get ahead. You don't love the spiritual teacher, our gurus, by winning while others lose. If it's driven by ego, if it's driven by competition or ulterior motive, it's not devotion, it's not bhakti. It's just refined selfishness. Here's something deeply human. Sometimes we don't actually love people for what they accomplish. We may admire them, we may be impressed by them, we may even envy them, but we love people for their character, for their integrity, for their humility, their goodness. And Krishna is the same. So Srila Prabhupada, my grandfather guru, wasn't impressed by grand achievements done only for prestige. He was moved by sincerity. And that's why a small, humble offering done with pure intent to please God can actually please God more than a massive project driven by ego. So the real disease is selfishness, and the real cure is selfless service. So I want to leave you with a gentle but honest question. Which one moves you more? 1, Indra protecting his world record, or 2, Prithu Maharaj giving it up for peace? Which example actually inspires you to shape your life? Because spiritual life isn't about suppressing your ambition. It's about purifying your ambition, being enthusiastic for God without stepping on others, being joyful when others succeed, being willing to step back when a higher principle is at stake. That is what pleases Krishna. That is what empowers devotion. And that is the spirit taught by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to chant with humility, cooperation, and love. So today, maybe reflect on this one. Where can I choose the higher principle, even if it costs me recognition? Where can I cooperate, even if I don't win? Because in devotional service, the real victory is not being first. The real victory is being faithful. Hare Krishna. If you love this episode, you'll love my interview with Kat Methin on how life isn't always symmetrical and beautiful. Check it out.
Nobody else owns you and your feelings. So you get to decide ultimately. And obviously, like I said, we were talking then about like how you feel, but you do get to make that decision.
Yeah.
You get to choose how, even if someone says something really horrible to you, or you read something horrible, or you see something that you compare yourself against, you do get to make that choice, however hard that is. And I think growing up,